Well, good Saturday morning. Welcome to another episode of Martin's Koi Pond. It's going to be a bit windy, so there's some wind noise. Apologies for that. Well, what a difference a few days make. Monday and Tuesday, 24 degrees. Yesterday, 9 degrees. And heavy rain all day. The pond is sparkling clear, but as you can see, the fish are all on the bottom. They're feeding still, but not very enthusiastically. So today I'm going to put the herring ball back where it should be, because the wind has blown it across the pond. Give the skimmer a clean out because it's full of leaves from yesterday's wind. And do a water change. So I've got my pipe hooked up to the drain, and I'm going to do 2 clean cycles of the pressure filter, which is approximately 1,000 litres. I have Big Bertha over there ready to refill, and a brew on the go because it's bloody cold. So without further ado, I'm going to get on with all those jobs and then get back to you later in the day. It's cold. Well, welcome back. I've dropped the pond, as you can see, down the edge, about 10 centimetres or so. So I'm now refilling her via my 6-stage dechlorinator. Now, something I just want to mention is this stuff, Colombo Fish Protect. This stuff was a total game changer for me with the evolution of this pond. Prior to that, all the water that was going in was going through this dechlorinator, but I was still having problems with fish flashing, especially just after a water change. Now, I think it gets rid of most of the chlorine, but not all of it. And I think there's something else in the water that gets through, but I think this stuff detoxifies. Because since I've used this stuff, I've experienced very little to no flashing from any of the fish. Just the odd one that you get after a feed, perhaps. And I do put it down to this stuff, so I really rate it, and will be using it throughout the life of this pond, well, as long as Colombo are selling it, I guess. I've also found it helps with my aquariums, because I was having similar fish flashing issues in them, and it seems to have calmed that down in them as well. So, back to you in a bit. Welcome back to maintenance day, and I've finished doing the water changes on the fish tanks, all 4 of them, and still filling the pond. So that's about halfway refilled from me taking out a load of water earlier for a water change. Now I thought I'd look at my 2 newest products that I've added to the pond, and the first one was this skimmer, which we added about 3 weeks ago or so, and I initially weighted down with zeolite, which I changed and put white pebbles in, and as you can see, those white pebbles are browning off, getting covered in algae, so they don't look so bright now. And yesterday we had really wild winds here in West Norfolk, and heavy rain, and this is how much debris the skimmer collected yesterday. Something I quickly learned about this skimmer is you need the bottom cup that's part of the stand set a good 10 centimetres under your normal water line, because if there's a fluctuation, if it's too close to the surface and there's a fluctuation in the surface water dropping, then it starts to suck air in and the pipe comes up and it floats and it's a right pain. But by having mine set about, my bottom cup is set about 15 centimetres below my maximum depth, and the upper cup, which you can see here, that floats up and down and makes up the missing depth, and it still seems to work very efficiently. So I would say it's been a success for two reasons. One, I don't have to empty it every day like I did the Oaza surface skimmer, and two, with the addition of the box filter over there that it feeds into, definitely got better water clarity. So that's the skimmer. Now the other thing I've recently added is the bottom drain, which you can just about make out there. Let's try it from the end, you might get a better view of it. It's worse. The reflections are great, aren't they, on a pond? Here it is. Here's the bottom drain. Now, I fitted that Tuesday, it's now Saturday, and I would say it's doing a good job. We had horrendous weather yesterday, and normally after that there would be leaves on the bottom of the pond of some description, and I can't see any leaves on the bottom of the pond, nor can I see any fish poop. Now, I'm not feeding them as much as I was, and they're certainly not on the food as much as they were, so it's not really a full test of the device yet. I won't really be able to gauge it now until the height of summer next year, but early signs are it's keeping the bottom of the pond very clean, and as someone suggested on my video last week, I might be able to retire the pond vacuum if it does a really good job. So it's just to let you know how those two items are doing and how I feel about them. As you can see, the fish are well down in the water. I just fed them half of what I would normally feed them at a feeding time in the summer, and it took them ages to eat all that, and it wasn't a great deal of pellets. The water here has dropped in the space of a week from 18 degrees down to 8 degrees it is this morning, so it's not surprising they've slowed down. Now, I do intend this week, as it's payday, to order my polycarbonate sheets to cover the pond, and when I get them, we'll cut them to shape and use the rocks to hold them down. But that's for another later video. Catch you in a bit. Good Saturday afternoon, and as you can see from my in-pond temperature gauge, it's actually 12 degrees in the pond, not 8, which is what the temperature gauge in the box is telling me. So I don't think I'll take much notice of that temperature gauge on the box in the future. I shall keep using this one. Probably explains why the fish are still reasonably active. Now, I've finished maintenance, and I've got the old trusty fishing shelter up because it's raining, and I want to over these next couple of weeks before I put my covers on, I want to spend as much time at weekends with my fish as possible, because I'm going to go several months without seeing them. although that's not strictly true, because I've got a plan to use my mini camera on a stick, put it into the pond every so often, just to through a gap in the covers, just to check on how the fish are doing and check I've got no casualties, and I shall do that throughout the winter. So the water is unbelievably clear, which I think is down to a couple of reasons. Time of the year, the algazin's killed off the last of any algae, and feeding has been muchly reduced, so there's much less fish waste. But I'm definitely noticing what fish waste there is much reduced with the Kasuri food than I was getting when I was using the Evolution Aqua food. So that being said, I made a couple of little tweaks. If you look at that far side, from the corner just behind the ball, almost to the box filter, you see virtually zero liner now. I've got it so the rocks are touching the water. I just need to tweak the bit in front of the metal duck, so that's the same. And then just round the corner to the right of the heron ball, a bit of line is showing there, so there's a breeze block there I need to lower slightly, and one in this corner. But otherwise, I think it's looking really good. So that being said, I'm going to enjoy a cup of tea that my wife has just made me, and see you in the next clip. Well, good Monday morning, and fish perhaps a tad bit more active today. The temperature's up to about 14 again, but we have one fish there sat on the bottom with clamped fins, which is not good. And I'll just monitor that for the next day or so, and if he don't improve, I'll have to have him out for a scrape. But the rest of the fish seem absolutely fine, swimming around together all up on the top. They've had a feed this morning, so what could be wrong with that one, I'm not really sure. But I'll keep my eye on it. The pond's looking great, lovely and clear. Catch you in the next one. Good Tuesday afternoon. Well, tea time actually. So I've made a couple of decisions the last couple of days about the pond moving forward. I've decided I'm not going to cover it for the winter, and for the main reason is I want to be able to monitor my koi and maybe keep feeding them if they're staying active. I just don't like the idea of covering them over. Now, if I find I get loads of leaves and bits and bobs in the pond, then I'll review it for next year and probably change my mind. But we've only got one non-evergreen plant in the whole of our back garden, which is the wisteria on the wall there, straight ahead. Next year I'm thinking that of having a path of the slate all the way around the pond. At the minute it's just that side and there. and also in doing so have some nice sort of edging to the grass. And on top of that, so if you can imagine, you've got a slate path here, and then puts a line of rocks backing up these rocks that are on top of the breeze blocks. So you see less, if not any, of this gravel liner. I think that might look a bit better. But those rocks are quite expensive. I think we paid £50 for 12 at a time. So it'd be a gradual job, but it would need doing on at least this side, that side and that side. So it'd be quite a lot of rocks, good couple of £100 worth. But so that's one possibility that I'm thinking of. And the other is obviously saving up to upgrade the filtration. And thirdly, a pergola. Now I did see a nice, online I saw a nice aluminium pergola that was just the right size for this pond, and quite like the idea of a metal pergola with the polycarbonate roof, but we'll see on that. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this month, week even. Not a lot of stuff to update on, and I'll catch you in the next one.